What is the biggest waste of money? Smoking. You're literally burning your money away. Any food or drinks with gold flakes. It does nothing for the taste. Those stimulation stomach belts that tell you it will give you 6-pack abs. Counterintuitive, but buying cheap stuff to save money and then having to buy it again or pay for reparation. Example, appliances, shoes, and furniture. An education for a degree you didn't end up using, but whose loans you are still paying off. Throwing a lavish wedding. I get that people want to make the day special, but you can still have a very nice wedding without breaking the bank. Instead of spending so much on the wedding, you can use that money to help get your new life together as a married couple off to a great start. Big fancy weddings and expensive honeymoons. Unless you're absolutely filthy rich. Get married at City Hall, put a down payment on a house or invest wisely in a retirement fund. Cigarettes too. Tobacco. I can't believe how much I have spent by smoking. Every month I end up without money for all the cigarettes I buy. I hate it and hate myself for getting addicted. Things like Supreme, Jordans and all these pieces of clothing where you pay for the brand and not the clothing. God, I hate hippobeasts. Starbucks. And not cooking at home, but eating out or having food delivered all the time. Marrying a woman who wants to be a stay-at-home mom, then getting a divorce a couple years later and losing half of your money. Cheap Macup. People like to poo-poo people who spend more money on Macup, but once you find some good quality stuff, you don't want to go backwards on it because it just works better. And sometimes you can use less of it versus cheaper stuff that you have to use more of to get the effect you want. Being fat. You spend a lot of money buying food, and when you get fat you have to pay a gym or a nutritionist to burn all your extra calories. Thing is, you eat and keep useless energy and then paying to burn it. Cocaine. As I usually paired it with excessive drinking and gambling, it cost me even more than it normally would. Since I have been clean, coming up 18 months, I always have money, and I enjoy the effects of that far more than I ever enjoyed the blow. ID cards or certification purchased online to make your pet into a service animal or emotional support animal. They are all scams. No exceptions. Service animal laws vary from country to country and even by state or province, but there is nowhere in the world that recognizes some random thing you bought online that doesn't even evaluate your dog's training or your medical need for animal assistance. Most of them won't even verify it's an animal and not a jar of Nutella. Literally, there's a jar of Nutella registered with the United States Service Dog Registry. Don't be fooled by the name. The USSDR has no affiliation to the government. And they aren't the only website using official looking shit to trick people. Far from it. I was in a cult for decades that asked for 10% of my income every time I got paid. If I didn't pay it, I couldn't access the super secret magic rituals that would let me into heaven. Also, they asked me to work for them in a foreign country for free for 2 years, convincing other people to join the cult. I was supposed to pay my own way. While this wasn't exactly considered necessary to get into super extra heaven, it was heavily implied that it would help. Also, that my future spouse would be better looking if I did it. Turns out my money, and the money of millions of others, is now sitting in a tax-free $100 billion investment fund. Buying the cheapest version of something. It stops working, or falls apart in 10 times less time, or it works like crap to begin with. That knockoff brand shoe looks the same as the real one, but costs 25% less than the original. Be prepared to be uncomfortable after walking for a while, then see it fall apart after 6 months instead of 5 years. There's a non-stick pan at Target that costs $20 instead of $50 at Bed Bath & Beyond. Watch it work like after the second use. What's the point of spending any money on something if it doesn't work right? Buy a quality one and you won't have to replace it in 6 months. If you get a quality version and keep it for 5 years, you get 10 times the use of it and only pay 25% more. Cigarettes in the year 2020. It is strange, but I actually see young people smoking. WTF. I remember reading Stranger Things had to reduce the smoking scenes because of the impressionable effects it was having. But seriously, in 2020 with all the information we have, The smokers waste so much money on cigarettes and they are killing their lungs and circulatory system. I know this is going to seem like I'm grinding an axe or banging a drum, but the drug war is insane. It actually creates the conditions that make drugs such a scourge on society, and it is unbelievably expensive. Look it up how much is spent out of tax money all over the globe. Imagine all those people are currently getting paid out by it were instead paid to do other shit we actually need. The only drug I do is alcohol BTW, in case you are biased against this type of opinion as the ranting of illegal drug users. Cars. It's absolutely insane how much of people's net worth they will put into a car, or even go deep into negative for them. Honestly, I can't help but laugh when my Uber Eats driver pulls up to my house in a brand new BMW. Just buy used Toyota until you get your shit together and stop wasting huge amounts of money on assets that depreciate faster than just about anything else on the planet. Cheap underwear. I know it seems like a waste to spend good money on underwear, but when you're cancelling on dates because all your lace underwear was shredded by the dryer and all your other underwear has holes from wear and tear, you tell me you wouldn't invest in lace that can withstand machine washing or drying. I mean, let's be honest. Designer clothes is so overrated and too common. Like what? Does that Gucci shirt make you fly awesome shit? Now it does the exact same thing as a white shirt for $6. Spend that money on some useful stuff instead of bloating your ego. Cars. Cars are the great money pit of the middle class. If you live somewhere without a good public transportation network, okay, they're a necessary evil. But still, add up all the bills you get on account of your car. There's the payment to the car itself, the insurance, gas, regular maintenance, parking tickets, trips to the car wash, the defensive driving course every 2 years to bring your insurance down. And what do you get out of it? Hours of your life wasted sitting in rush hour traffic and recurring nightmares of fatal crashes. High-speed rail in California, poorly planned, will take a monumental amount of money to finish if they wanted to. Lots of money spent already and nothing to show for it. Was a good idea, but absolutely the worst planning and execution. Many kinds of surgery, like dental and LASIK, can be performed for a fraction of the price out of town or even out of country. Takes a bit of research and critical thinking to make sure you're not getting a raw deal, but one decision can literally save you thousands of dollars. The biggest waste of money? Bottled water or bottled drinks, glass or plastic. I carry with me as a Jerashi stainless steel vacuum insulated water bottle whenever I go out, and it has saved me so much hassle. Water stays cool for hours on end. Financial advisors. Do just a little research and you can easily make sound long-term investments and avoid giving some schmuck 1% of your life savings per year. AirPods. They are literally wireless headphones. You can find wireless headphones anywhere because they are so small there isn't enough space to put a larger battery in, so it doesn't last as long as other more affordably priced wireless headphones. Iced tea in restaurants. Years ago, the owner of a restaurant that I worked at told me if he could get away with it, he'd open an iced tea restaurant. You pay about $0.25 to brew 5 gallons, and then customers pay $2 for a glass of the stuff. Even with refills, it's like robbery. The profit is so huge. Second prize goes to coffee, of course. Also, lately I've also noticed sauerkraut at natural food stores like Whole Foods going for something like $7 per pint. Holy crap, it's cabbage and salt, and requires no special equipment to produce. I make it all the time. A head of organic cabbage is like $3 to $4 and you get a quart or more quart out of it. So crazy. Bottled water when you live somewhere with perfectly good tap water, 99% of US and Canada. It blows my mind how much people buy this shit. Dumbest idea ever that people actually bought into somehow. You're an idiot if you buy bottled water. Designer clothes. In my opinion, designer clothes are overrated and a huge waste of money. Some if not, most of designer clothes look absolutely terrible and often end up heading in a direction that is incredibly racially offensive. It just seems stupid as hell and everybody obsesses over them. Toilet paper. Literally flushing money down the toilet. Just buy a bidet instead. It pays for itself in just a couple of months, or faster, if you live with multiple people. Kombucha. We worked for thousands of years to not have to drink moldy shit, and now people are throwing out $5 a can for mildew water. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Let us know your thoughts on this topic. See you soon.